If you thought 100 Years of Solitude Season 1 was emotional and unforgettable, then Season 2 raises the stakes in every possible way. Macondo is no longer the peaceful, magical town founded by Jose Arcadio Buendía. It has become a place torn apart by war, political corruption, greed, and heartbreaking family tragedies. As the older generation slowly fades away, a new generation of the Buendía family steps forward. But despite the passage of time, one thing never changes: the curse of solitude that seems to haunt every member of this family. Every generation repeats the same mistakes, loses the people they love, and ultimately ends up alone. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. In this video, we're going to recap episodes 1 through 7 and explain everything that happens, from Colonel Aureliano Buendía's final years to the rise of a new generation that will shape the future of Macondo. Colonel Aureliano Buendía returns to Macondo. Season 2 begins with Colonel Aureliano Buendía returning to Macondo after spending nearly 2 decades fighting in the brutal civil war between the liberals and the conservatives. With his troops behind him, he forcefully takes control of the town and captures General Moncada, the respected conservative leader. But something has changed in Macondo. The people are no longer interested in choosing political sides. After years of violence, they simply want peace. Even Ursula believes General Moncada deserves mercy because, despite belonging to the opposing side, he always treated the people of Macondo fairly. For Aureliano, however, this war has become much more than politics. It has become his entire identity. He has sacrificed his youth, his relationships, and his humanity in pursuit of a revolution he once believed would change the country. When the president sends an envoy offering peace negotiations, Aureliano rejects the proposal in the most horrifying way imaginable by executing the messenger and sending his severed head back. This shocking act shows just how deeply consumed he has become by hatred and endless conflict. The revolution begins to lose its meaning. As time passes, the war slowly loses its original purpose. Many of Aureliano's own generals begin questioning whether there is anything left to fight for. Exhausted by years of bloodshed, Aureliano eventually agrees to sign an armistice with the conservative government. For everyone who followed him, this decision feels like a betrayal. Thousands of soldiers gave up their lives believing they were fighting for justice, only to watch their leader make peace with the very government they opposed. Deep inside, Aureliano knows this agreement is a mistake. He realizes the government has no intention of honoring its promises and only wants to silence the rebellion once and for all. The guilt becomes unbearable. Feeling responsible for destroying everything his revolution once stood for, Aureliano decides there is only one way to escape his own failures: a suicide that fails. One of the most unforgettable moments of the season comes when Aureliano carefully plans his own death. He asks a doctor to mark the exact location of his heart so he can shoot himself with absolute certainty. But fate has other plans. The doctor intentionally marks the wrong spot, and when Aureliano pulls the trigger, the bullet passes through his body without damaging any vital organs. Instead of dying, he survives. It is almost as if destiny refuses to let him escape. Throughout his life, Aureliano survives countless wars, executions, assassination attempts, and now even his own suicide. His survival is not a blessing. It becomes another form of punishment. He is forced to continue living with the weight of every decision he has made. The government turns against him again. Although the peace treaty officially ends the conflict, Aureliano never truly accepts the government's rule. When the president later organizes a ceremony to honor him as a national hero, everyone expects him to praise the government and celebrate peace. Instead, he publicly denounces them. Standing before the crowd, Aureliano openly declares that he still wants to destroy the corrupt government because it betrayed every promise made to his soldiers, including the pensions they were guaranteed after the war. With a single speech, he transforms from a celebrated hero back into an enemy of the state. Soon afterward, another assassination attempt is organized. During a crowded carnival celebration, hidden snipers open fire, hoping to eliminate him once and for all. Chaos erupts across the streets. Innocent people are caught in the crossfire, but somehow Aureliano survives once again. It becomes almost mythical how death keeps missing him despite coming so close every single time. The arrival of the Americans. Just when it seems Macondo has finally escaped years of civil war, a completely different threat arrives. The railway reaches the isolated town, bringing American businessmen with promises of progress, prosperity, and modernization. Many people are fascinated by the newcomers. They believe railroads, technology, and foreign investment will transform Macondo into a thriving city. But Aureliano immediately senses danger. Unlike everyone else, he understands that these outsiders are not coming to help, they are coming to profit. While others celebrate the arrival of the Americans, Aureliano warns that their true goal is to take control of the town's future. Unfortunately, no one listens. As the years pass, the influence of the Americans grows stronger while Aureliano's influence slowly disappears. The revolutionary who once inspired thousands is gradually forgotten by the very society he tried to change. The tragic fate of Aureliano's sons. One of the darkest events in Season 2 is the systematic murder of Colonel Aureliano Buendia's 17 illegitimate sons. One after another, each of them is mysteriously hunted down and killed. Although nobody officially admits responsibility, the implication is painfully clear. The Colombian government and the powerful American business interests do not want another Buendia capable of leading another rebellion. By eliminating Aureliano's children, they eliminate the possibility of another revolutionary rising against them. For Aureliano, this is perhaps the greatest tragedy of his life. He fought countless battles and survived impossible odds, only to watch his own bloodline be erased before his eyes. His anger toward the government and the Americans grows stronger than ever, but by now he is simply an old man with very little power left. The death of Colonel Aureliano Buendia. Ironically, after surviving wars, poison, bullets, and countless assassination attempts, Colonel Aureliano Buendia is not killed by an enemy. He dies quietly inside his own home. Moments before his death, his mind drifts back to his childhood. He remembers his father, José Arcadio Buendía, and the simple days when life was filled with wonder instead of endless violence. Holding on to those memories, he suddenly clutches his chest and dies of natural causes. It is a deeply symbolic ending. The man who once believed he could change history ultimately realizes that every battle he fought left him more isolated than before. His greatest enemy was never the conservatives or the government. It was the loneliness that slowly consumed him throughout his life. His death marks the end of one era in Macondo and the beginning of another. A new generation takes control. With Colonel Aureliano fading into history, the story shifts toward Arcadio's twin sons, Aureliano II and José Arcadio II. Although the brothers look completely identical, their personalities couldn't be more different. As children, almost nobody can tell them apart, but as they grow older, their choices begin separating them. Aureliano II becomes outgoing, energetic, and deeply interested in pleasure, wealth, and family life. José Arcadio II, on the other hand, becomes quiet, thoughtful, and obsessed with knowledge and discovery. Their different paths begin after José Arcadio II witnesses General Moncada's execution. The traumatic event changes him forever. Instead of chasing power or wealth, he becomes fascinated with learning about the world beyond Macondo. Determined to expand his knowledge, he leaves town on an expedition funded by his brother. After several years, he finally returns home, not only with stories from distant places but also with revolutionary inventions that completely transform Macondo. He introduces the gramophone, bringing recorded music into people's lives for the very first time. Even more importantly, he brings electricity. The townspeople gather in amazement as electric lights illuminate the streets, making it feel as though magic itself has become reality. José Arcadio II doesn't stop there. He becomes the driving force behind one of Macondo's greatest transformations by planning and building the railway that finally connects the isolated town to the outside world. While many see this as the beginning of progress, they have no idea that the same railway will also bring the foreign corporations and tragedies that will forever change Macondo's destiny. Aureliano II's extraordinary life. While José Arcadio II dedicates himself to science and progress, his twin brother, Aureliano II, follows a completely different path. Instead of chasing knowledge, he embraces pleasure, wealth, and family life. From a young age, he falls deeply in love with Petra Coates, a woman who raises livestock. Their relationship isn't ordinary because, in true 100 years of solitude fashion, it comes with a magical twist. Every time they make love, the animals around them multiply at an unbelievable rate. Their cattle, horses, and other livestock reproduce so quickly that Aureliano II becomes incredibly wealthy almost overnight. What seems impossible to everyone else becomes completely normal in Macondo, where magic and reality have always existed side by side. However, Aureliano's life changes after he meets Fernanda del Carpio. Captivated by her beauty and noble upbringing, He marries her, believing she will bring dignity and status to the Buendía family. But marriage quickly proves to be far more complicated than he expected. Fernanda is deeply religious, conservative, and obsessed with appearances. She believes every aspect of life should follow strict moral rules, making her the complete opposite of Aureliano's carefree personality. Unable to find happiness in his marriage, he continues his passionate relationship with Petra Coates while still supporting his wife and children. Surprisingly, Fernanda eventually accepts this unusual arrangement, choosing to preserve the family's public image instead of confronting her husband's infidelity. Together they have 3 children, while Aureliano continues living between 2 completely different worlds. The strange deaths of Remedios and Amaranta. The Buendía family has never experienced ordinary lives, so it's only fitting that 2 of its most unforgettable women meet extraordinary ends. Remedios the beauty is unlike anyone else in Macondo. Her breathtaking beauty leaves every man completely mesmerized, but she herself has no interest in romance, marriage, or physical desire. She moves through life with complete innocence, never realizing the effect she has on others. Men who become obsessed with her often meet mysterious and tragic deaths. One admirer is suddenly killed by a scorpion sting, while another falls through a roof while trying to secretly watch her. It almost feels as though the universe itself refuses to allow anyone to possess her. Then comes one of the novel's most iconic magical moments. While helping with household chores, Remedios suddenly begins floating into the sky. Without fear or confusion, she peacefully ascends into heaven before the eyes of her family. Nobody questions the miracle because Remedios had always seemed too pure and too detached from earthly desires to truly belong to the mortal world. Her ascension symbolizes absolute innocence, suggesting that she never carried the burdens, temptations, or loneliness that haunted every other member of the Buendía family. Years later, Amaranta also approaches death in a way that feels almost supernatural. After spending her entire life rejecting love and choosing loneliness, she calmly announces the exact day she will die. Even more astonishingly, she tells the people of Macondo that she is willing to carry letters to their deceased loved ones in heaven. The townspeople eagerly write messages, believing Amaranta will truly deliver them. When her final day arrives, she peacefully accepts death without fear, carrying with her the regrets of an entire lifetime. Unlike Remedios, whose purity lifted her to heaven, Amaranta dies surrounded by memories of opportunities she refused to embrace. Meme's heartbreaking love story. Perhaps no character suffers more emotionally during these episodes than Meme, the daughter of Aureliano II and Fernanda. Raised in a convent under strict religious discipline, Meme grows up believing the world is governed by rules, obedience, and morality. But when she returns home as a teenager, she discovers a completely different Macondo filled with music, parties, freedom, and excitement. She becomes friends with the American teenagers living near the United Fruit Company and gradually falls in love with Mauricio Babylonia, a humble mechanic known for the mysterious yellow butterflies that constantly surround him. Their romance is innocent yet deeply passionate, and Mauricio secretly visits Meme by climbing through the bathroom roof whenever they want to meet. Unfortunately, Fernanda discovers the relationship. Unable to accept the idea of her daughter loving a working-class mechanic, Fernanda chooses cruelty over compassion. One night, believing Mauricio is sneaking into the house again, she shoots him. Later she claims she mistook him for a chicken thief, but the truth is obvious. Mauricio survives, but the gunshot leaves him permanently paralyzed. For Meme, this moment destroys everything. The trauma is so overwhelming that she stops speaking entirely. She never utters another word for the rest of her life. Rather than comforting her daughter, Fernanda sends Meme back to a convent to hide the family scandal and erase all evidence of the forbidden romance. It is one of the most heartbreaking examples of how obsession with reputation and religious hypocrisy destroys innocent lives within the Buendía family. The rise and fall of the United Fruit Company. The arrival of the Americans initially appears to be a blessing for Macondo. Their banana plantations create thousands of jobs, new businesses emerge, and the isolated town suddenly becomes connected to the modern world. People believe prosperity has finally arrived. But that illusion doesn't last long. The United Fruit Company quickly reveals its true nature. Workers are forced into exhausting labor under terrible conditions while receiving little protection or fair compensation. Jose Arcadio II, who initially works as a supervisor, gradually realizes the company values profit far more than human lives. Unable to ignore the injustice any longer, He resigns from his position and joins the workers demanding better treatment. Together they form a labor union and organize peaceful strikes, hoping negotiations will improve working conditions. Instead, the government sides with the company. Martial law is declared, public gatherings become illegal, and soldiers surround thousands of unarmed workers and their families gathered at the railway station. Without warning, the army opens fire. The result is one of the darkest moments in the entire story. More than 3,000 innocent people are massacred in cold blood. The government immediately covers up the tragedy, pretending it never happened. Official records deny the massacre entirely, while survivors are dismissed as liars. Jose Arcadio II barely escapes with his life, but the horror he witnesses leaves permanent psychological scars. Almost as if nature itself mourns the dead, relentless rain begins falling over Macondo. The downpour continues for years, flooding homes, destroying businesses, and eventually forcing the United Fruit Company to abandon the town altogether. The same corporation that promised prosperity leaves behind nothing but death, suffering, and ruins. Who survives at the end? Although Jose Arcadio II survives the massacre, he never truly recovers. The experience changes him forever. He isolates himself inside Melquiades' old laboratory, spending the rest of his life trying to decipher the mysterious manuscripts that may contain the entire history and future of the Buendía family. Symbolically, government soldiers searching for him somehow fail to notice him even when he stands directly before them, showing that he has become invisible to the world after witnessing a truth nobody wants to acknowledge. Eventually, both twins meet remarkably similar endings. Aureliano II develops a severe respiratory illness that slowly takes his life. At almost the exact same moment, Jose Arcadio II also dies quietly inside the laboratory. Though they spent their lives following completely different paths, the brothers leave the world together, almost as if destiny had always intended them to remain connected. By this point, the legendary matriarch Ursula has also passed away after living an incredibly long life. Before dying, she predicts that her death will coincide with the end of the endless reign, proving once again that the Buendía family exists in a world where prophecy and reality constantly overlap. With most of the older generation gone, Fernanda assumes complete control of the household. Her son Jose Arcadio continues studying in Rome, dreaming of becoming Pope one day, while her youngest daughter Amaranta Ursula is sent away to a convent in Belgium. Meanwhile, Fernanda hides one final secret. Before being separated forever, Mime had become pregnant with Mauricio's child. She gives birth to a baby boy in the convent, and the infant is secretly sent back to the Buendía house. Fernanda raises him in isolation, locking him inside the house and keeping his existence hidden from almost everyone. That child is Aureliano Babylonia. Although he spends his childhood imprisoned by his own family, viewers soon realize he is far more important than he appears. Unknown to everyone around him, Aureliano Babylonia is destined to become the final witness to the rise and complete downfall of the Buendía family. His story is only beginning, and the greatest mysteries of 100 years of solitude are still waiting to unfold in the final chapter of this unforgettable saga.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.